Welcome to Spotlight Gulf Coast, a weekly showcase of people and events across South Mississippi. Spotlight Gulf Coast is partnered with William Carey University and sponsored by the IP Casino Resort and Spa, Mississippi Power Company, and Ray Brandt Auto Group.
Hi everyone, this is Todd Trenchard, your host of Spotlight Gulf Coast, welcoming you to another segment of Spotlight Gulf Coast right here on WXXV. Each week we're coming into your living room talking about what's going on all across South Mississippi, and we want to thank our sponsors for this generous opportunity. Today I'm real privileged to have with me Sheriff John Ledbetter, and Sheriff, appreciate you taking the trip over here from Jackson County.
Thank you for having me.
I've known you, John, for, a while now. And, I was commenting with Amanda right before the show, being a young leader in this position, a lot of responsibility.
Yes, sir.
I know that you grew up in law enforcement. So that's where I really want to start, having a grandfather that was a sheriff.
Yeah, my grandfather was sheriff of Jackson County from 1976 into 1984.
Wow.
And of course, I was young back then, and I didn't know him as sheriff or wasn't really in tune to what he did as a law enforcement officer. He was my grandfather.
Right.
He was a grandpa to me. So we spent a lot of time together. Unfortunately, he passed when I was 18 years old, a senior in high school. And it wasn't but a few years after that I decided to go into the career of law enforcement in 2001. 2001,
so you served under Sheriff Byrd and then Sheriff Ezell.
My law enforcement career started in 2001 as a deputy at the Jackson County Adult Detention Center.
Okay.
That's where I got my start before I went to Pascagoula Police Department as a patrolman. And from there, it's for the last 22 years, I've served in law enforcement in Jackson County, right where I was born and raised.
And of course, you're chief deputy under Sheriff Ezell, and
yes,
a lot of people don't know what that position really entails, but like Sheriff Ezell would tell you, it really runs it. I mean,
that's basically it. As a chief deputy, you run the day-to-day operations of the sheriff's office and support the sheriff in his mission for the department. And it's real busy. It's not an 8-to-5 job, as some may think it is. It's around the clock, calls in the middle of the night. Everything from maintaining a budget, or creating a budget for the county, for the sheriff's department to operate, to making sure the investigations go like they're supposed to, make sure all the day-to-day operations flow like they're supposed to make an effective sheriff's office.
I know one of the things that, again, this was a whole new world for me when I went to Home of Grace, and I met Sheriff Byrd, Valerie DiMaggio. I remember it clear as day. We asked them to come out to the Home of Grace, and it was like cutting down some of those stigmas, thinking that the sheriff was the bad guy. No, actually, they're the good guys. And so we started doing that on a regular basis, and I started following the position. And then also through Sheriff Ezell, the sheriff position, probably more so than any elected official that we have here locally, is out in your community, doing things really looked up to by the people. It's a very important position. And I know that you've sort of seen that all along, and you're carrying that tradition on.
It is very important. You have to develop connections and develop relationships with not only other law enforcement agencies, federal, state, and local, but also your business leaders of the community, church leaders, other branches of government, the legislative branch, your judges and the judicial branch of government. So you have to work with everyone as sheriff. And it's a rewarding job, to say the least. It's very rewarding. It's something that you have to take the bad with the good, because it doesn't go good all the time. Right. You have to be prepared to make those difficult decisions.
I know that, again, I've gotten to know, both yourself, Sheriff Byrd, Sheriff Ezell, yourself.
Yes.
And, there have been times, because I do work with people in recovery, that I've had to call and, get some advice or guidance, and I've never not had a return call, never not had the interest in how y'all could help that situation. But when you get involved in the community, I know you're a part of Rotary now. We were
Yes,
talking
sir.
about Leadership Jackson County a few years ago. You put on and have been to a lot of, I'm sure, the rodeos that y'all put
Yes, sir.
on. Talk about that, about, how you're getting to meet people throughout the year in these different positions, how it helps you.
That's an opportunity. Our rodeo is usually every May, and I think this is the 22nd one this past May. 22 years that we've had it. It's very beneficial. The community loves it. It's right there in Van Cleve at the horse arena. I think that's the Saturday night that we had this past May.
Right.
Where I think the count was over 1,000 people right there in the arena. Good family event. The kids were having a good time, and also just the residents of Van Cleve are out enjoying. And the benefit of the rodeo is not only good entertainment, quality, wholesome entertainment for the community, but the money's raised goes to help our reserve division.
I know that, I complained a few times to Sheriff Ezell. I said, why is it the same day as a Jolly? I mean, it always seems to follow.
We changed it this year. Yes, sir. We had an available weekend where nothing conflicted with the rodeo, and people were able to attend the Jolly
Right.
and the rodeo.
Right, but
And
you're out there helping with
Yeah.
the food at the Jolly, and you've helped the foundation. Been to our fashion show and seen it, and that's it. I mean, you're part of the community, and that's a very important thing that we certainly need to bring up. The other thing is that our county officials, knowing Josh, knowing Nick, knowing Randy, y'all are all younger, and it's almost like the old regime has moved on, and everybody sort of came on about the same time. It's amazing.
That's right. Yeah, I don't feel young, even though I've been told that I look young. I'm 44 years old,
Right.
born and raised in Jackson County, and I feel obligated to not only to come to work to have a job, but to do something for the community, because my plans are to live here
Right.
even when I'm finished with my career. And I want to use my knowledge, skills, and abilities as sheriff and as a law enforcement officer for all these years to make sure that the future is safe for Jackson County, that we have good quality law enforcement, and then we have good relationships with what I spoke of before, our community leaders, business leaders, churches, nonprofit organizations, things such as that.
I know that we just got about a minute, but before I go off this segment, I want to, say thank you, because through, Sheriff Ezell's regime and you being Chief Deputy, you saw a total mind shift into the Sheriff's Department. At the time there were some, just things that people did not like. It's now so highly respected. A lot of people in law enforcement have moved over to the Sheriff's Department, and Sheriff's Department has certainly been just such an asset to Jackson County. So appreciate that. We're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to ask Amanda to come on, because I want to talk a little bit, about some things going forward, and some of the issues that, she probably sees, and certainly that you have to deal with.
Yes,
so
sir.
y'all don't touch that remote. We're talking with Sheriff John Ledbetter. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We've been joined by Amanda Ray. We appreciate you coming on. And on the last segment, we were talking about leadership Jackson County. You graduated, what did you say, 2016?
2016.
And that's been a few years ago now, but the programs stay pretty much the same. You're in the class now, and I think it's an important class.
Oh, it is. I mean, young leaders are so important today, and throughout this class so far, we're about halfway done. A lot of the class is the same, but she has changed some things. We had the Dare to Lead book that we read, and we had a facilitator come in. Of course, we went to the police training center, which I loved. I was just talking to Sheriff and told him that was my favorite day yet as far as leadership. So it's just so nice to see young leaders meet leaders, and especially Sheriff and I being in Rotary and both going through Leadership Jackson County. I just get very excited every time we meet new upcoming leaders.
I think it's sort of, like I said, y'all are growing a bond and don't even know it,
That's right.
with each other, and makes for a very much stronger community. There's, Sheriff, so many issues that come top of mind. She just mentioned, one a minute ago, the problem we're having now with the opiates and the fentanyl, and me being in recovery and working with a lot of these people, I like to always bring up, this is real. This isn't
Very
something
real.
to talk about.
Yes.
And I'm burying more and more people. I'm calling more and more families to tell them their loved one is not going to be home tonight. It's serious. And I know that it's something that y'all focus on.
We do. And it's unfortunate. Drugs have progressed throughout the years from marijuana until this. This is the worst that I've seen it as far as what fentanyl can do. And it's coming across the border, and it hits the interstate system. It travels that way. And it's not anything that's specific to Jackson County or any one city. It's all over the place. And I don't know how many overdoses that we've had from this. And law enforcement now carries a substance on their possession called Narcan. I believe you've heard of it. It's like a nose spray. What it does is reverses the effects of what the fentanyl does to your organs.
Right.
And we've never had to do anything like that before, up until recent years. And we have prevented overdose deaths that way several times. And not only do we carry it, we have it, or the ambulance service has it when they're called out to a scene also, and it's looks like an overdose death.
I know that's, being a recovering addict myself, you used to think about, with the opiates, they build up tolerance, and if they use the same amount, it could make them overdose. This is something totally different.
Well,
this is, you don't know where you're getting the fentanyl.
What's happening is young people who are susceptible to trying new things are easily persuaded. Friends may give them something that they think would be an Adderall or a Xanax or some pill form of something for them to take that's not prescription. It appears to be something that it's really not. And the pill presses that they're making at home, they're making these pills at home filled with fentanyl and other substances, and they're taking what they think to be a Lortab or a Xanax or an Adderall. They're taking it, and it's mixed by who knows who. And they may have taken 3 or 4 before with no effect, but that one that's not mixed just right and has too much fentanyl in it is what's killing our folks, killing our young people. And if we can get that message across and drive the demand down for the want for this stuff, to at least to get into our schools, and another thing is monitoring our young people's social media and on their phones. Who they're texting, who they're talking to, who they're communicating with, either by text or other forms of social media, because that seems to be a thing. And they're not. It doesn't have to be someone right down the road. It's someone in another city that's that they've made a connection with somehow, and they want to experiment and try this stuff. So I'd urge the parents to pay attention to what their kids are doing online.
Right. Well, I know that you having 2 young children, you're almost like, wow, I hope someone can get a hold of this before.
Right. I mean, it's scary raising kids in today's age. And luckily, when you have people like Sheriff who lead by faith, integrity, trust, he's dedicated to the lives of citizens of Jackson County. So I look forward as my kids get older, hopefully to have a sheriff such as yourself to keep the kids safe. I mean, it's scary these days. There's so much going on with drugs and child abuse and human trafficking. It's a scary time to be raising your kids. So leadership is key. I mean, that's what Paige was saying this morning at Ocean Springs Area Council. Leadership is key. It starts at the leadership. So she reminded everybody to vote. So,
Sheriff, as far as the department goes, how's staffing going? I mean, are you pretty much fully staffed now? Are you always looking for quality?
We're not fully staffed, and we're better than most nationally as far as vacancies are concerned. After COVID first hit, we had some vacancies in the department, both at our jail and on our patrol division. But here in recent months, and within the last year, we've closed the gap on our vacancies. So we're not at full staff, but we're getting close, and we're looking forward to not hiring as much. So we look for top quality candidates. We do a thorough background investigation on everyone that wants to come to work for us, and what I'd like to get the public to understand too is how this is an honorable profession.
Right.
This is a calling.
Right.
And a lot of times it don't pay that well starting out.
Right.
And they have other options, other career options and other job options. But it's a service above self. It's like Rotary's
Right. It
theme, service above self. It's not anything that you take on a badge and a gun for yourself. You're there to serve the community.
I think it's very important that you brought up a great point. Listen to Matt gave a little program at Rotary, about Pat Skula. The pay has gotten to where we need to start relooking at how we're paying law enforcement, firefighters. These jobs are, putting lives on the line every day. And, sometimes when you look at the pay, they can go somewhere else and they have to just to support their families, and that should not be the case. I appreciate you coming on and
yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Everything. And I'll reiterate what you said. You can't get a more honorable guy
Right.
in the position.
Thank you.
If I was sitting here talking to Sheriff Byrd and Sheriff Ezel, you got it. You got it. Everybody's always said that. John's impeccable, and you're the epitome of, who I'd want, as a sheriff. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
We're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Renaissance Runway. It's that time of year again, so don't touch that for a minute. Welcome back, everyone, and appreciate Sheriff Ledbetter coming on, and of course now joined by Amanda Ray. And Amanda, excited because we got Renaissance Runway coming.
Oh yeah, we're getting all amped up.
Y'all are like you said, are we on par or where we're supposed to be? I said, well, y'all way ahead of it. And so and that's the good thing about each year. It seems to get better and better because you start thinking out of the box of how you can make it better and better. And I think this year, having that Barbie theme, is genius actually. And I don't know where it came from, if it was a thought that came from up above or you and Nicole were talking, but very excited about it. And this is really going to be the first event that you've really going to run with. And so I think it's also a great thing where you can, build some things around your skill set.
Right. Well, I'm very excited. Last year, Renaissance, that was my first big event with the foundation, just kind of getting my feet wet. We had it at the Civic Center. So excited to have it this year back at the IP. Nicole, of course, is amazing. You were talking about the Barbie theme. We were just sitting there at the IP a couple weeks ago. Totally different direction. We were thinking about a Paris theme. And then 2 minutes before we were about to part ways, we were like, Barbie, that's it. With the movie coming out, we knew you would be all about it and love that. So we just knew it from there. We were like, that's it, that's perfect. We're both inspired, we're gonna run with it. She's amazing, so I know the room decorations, the setup will be beautiful, and we're gonna have all kinds of great hot pink Barbie boxes for pictures, just the sky's the limit. So I'm really excited. It's got me all amped up and excited for the event.
It's not, from a standpoint, it probably has a lot more moving parts than even the Jolly because, you're dealing with so many things that you have to coordinate. And when you have this many different players, say you had 75 models and you have, say, 20 boutiques, and you're having to, keep that going, all we do is get it going and then hopefully steer the ship home.
Right.
But we've built such a great volunteer base. We'll have a committee that's focusing on certain aspects of it. And, Laura Lacoste was telling me today as we were talking, she says, I've never seen an organization like this that has so many different players that, and my job's been actually pretty simple. Just keep it going.
Keep it going.
It gets out of the box, just sort of move it back in. But it builds community. It
really
builds, partnerships, relationships that are going to pay dividends in the future. So it's a lot more than just a fashion show. Why a silly fashion show? Why a silly golf tournament? Well, you're building a community.
Right.
Just like you two sitting on the couch. It's because we've got a stronger community than we've ever had before. And, you know, if you're thinking like that, the sky's the limit.
Right.
And I know you're starting to see that.
Oh, yeah.
It's, now, one of the advantages that we do have is that we do have some great community partners. And, you know, I'm just excited this year that we can sort of rely on some of those people, just our board of directors. We've got some real talent there.
We really do. And I'm so excited, you know, like you were talking about the committee. We're getting ready to have our first committee meeting, starting the planning phase and kind of delegating phase for our volunteers and committee. Vicki, wonderful, Vicki Applewhite, she'll do the script, the program for us. She always handles the model backstage.
Right.
Joey, of course, and George will be modeling, but she'll be backstage. And after the end of the event, you know, she'll be helping pick stuff up, load it up, clean up. Angel, we just have so many people. We've got Dana Del Vescavo, who's going to be helping this year. We're very excited about. And of course, Kim Cox, who she was actually the genius behind the idea of Renaissance the Runway. So of course we're bringing her back. Tasha McGinn DJing, David Delk and Jonathan Brannon. I mean, it's just our events, like you were saying, it's over the top. It's they're on a whole nother level. So we're always, you know, I was telling you, I'm already not getting very much sleep because I'm thinking about different ways how we can one up it from last year and just
and we will
keep it going.
And having it at the IP is going to simplify it a lot. You know, you'll have a nice menu that's already put there. You know, we're not supposed to do everything perfectly. We're not in this line of work, but we're going to put forth the best event that we can, and we're going to build excitement as we build up to it. The event's almost anticlimactic because you've already made the relationships along the way, and that's the exciting thing that I know. I've gotten to meet a lot of people. A lot of our show's focuses will be on Renaissance over the next month and a half, and you know, a lot of good things. Sky's the limit. We're able to put on these micro events now almost seamlessly. You went from the Jolly to a huge event, actually, at Gulf Hills, and now this event, and then we have other events coming right behind it. So we're able to, you know, multitask, be thinking about this, and I'm already setting up next year's golf tournaments, next year's events.
Right. I mean, and that's how you build communities. You were just talking about our micro events. I mean, we had the Gulfport Advisory Board event at the Den right before we went into the Jolly, and then the Ocean Springs Advisory Board. It's really amazing, and I can't tell you how many compliments I've gotten from other leaders in the community, just amazed at what we do with a staff of 3.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I like people when they say, well, what do you do? I said, what don't we do?
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost a never-ending sort of juggernaut that's out there, and certainly can always use you know, other volunteers and other support. But that's you're starting to see that happen. Now I know that you know, again, we have those people like Joey that are just absolutely, their energy level is nonstop. You may also have the person that's very timid that can, you know, be attention to detail. That, you know, is such an asset. So it takes all different skill sets. You don't want somebody to think just because they're not outgoing, that they're not.
All levels are welcome to volunteers. I mean, attention to detail or being outgoing, out in the public. You know, same with Duchess Club. We have several ladies that like the attention and the other ones that want to just fill out the silent auction information. So it's great. We have a great community.
We're going to actually knock this thing out of the park, and then we're going to come up with something even bigger and better. I've always said I want to be a circus leader with a whip and lions and tigers and bears, but maybe we'll get to that one day. And, again, we'll be talking on different shows about some of the models, some of the boutiques. Certainly, we're going to be having you know, a raffle that's announced that we can raise some monies. We've got about a minute. You're starting to build some, I guess, post on Facebook. We'll have a site. And
So, of course, go to our Facebook page, Baco Foundation of South Mississippi, our website. You'll have more information about the event. We're just now getting kind of models, boutiques, exploring those ideas. The event page is up, and we'll have a group as well. So just keep us on the lookout on social media, and more information will be available.
And like they told me, just stay as far away from those females as possible, Ty. Let them at it. And, well, that's good, though.
Let me just handle that.
Hey, I've sort of got a complex that all of them are showing up for your meeting, but not mine. Anyway, appreciate what you do.
Thank you, Todd.
We appreciate everybody's support of the Baker Foundation in South Mississippi. Until next time, this is Todd Trenchard and Amanda Ray saying so long and God bless.